Good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Amalgamash, and this is another devlog for Project D, or Project DeprHaven, or Chronicle of DeprHaven, all working titles. I seem to have placed all of events on top of one another. I not remember that. Okay, that's why that was. I've got right now a test bed map after having created additional maps that I knew, or realized later rather, that I would need for the demo. The demo, once again, is going to consist of the dormitory, which needs to be designed, but does have a working warp point. All of these maps now warp to each other correctly. The upper Temple of Agape, which I'm considering merging with the lower temple, since the upper temple is literally just upstairs, and then there should be a balcony allowing you to oversee other parts of the temple. That's kind of how I want to do it, but I'm not sure if I will do it that way. I don't know. It just depends. I may instead make this a closed off hallway. That seems more likely. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I might need to gather some thoughts. Comments below, perhaps, if you want to contribute your opinion. The library, where the lore maester waits. The library has to be pretty big because there's going to be a lot of different books on lore here that will correspond to the way game world is, as well as a whole section devoted to listing all of the patrons who will be helping to crowdfund this game. I'm going to have a lot of different books, and the books will just be in different spots. When you go to check a book, you'll have different selections, different excerpts, different sections of the book you can look in, and so some of these patrons will be like the earliest patrons of March, or the patrons who were here in 2024, or the patrons who donated the most money, things like that. I'll figure out fun ways to categorize them, and if you were to, say, become a patron yourself, be able to come here and quickly figure out which book your name would be in. But I would make it as fun as possible. I would try to attach some sort of description or story or something to each patron. And I think that this project might have potential to have a lot of patrons, at least I hope. So it would definitely have to be kind of behind a more than $1 tier for that sort of stuff. Maybe I'll write a story for each patron if they're at the $10 and above tier, things like that. We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of ways I could do it, and I don't think that there's a lot of people that really care how it's done. I care a little bit how it's done. The headmaster's office is a small office that the headmaster resides in. It's not decorated yet. None of these are decorated. That comes later. The medicus is where you're going to go to get your first checkup. Medicus is going to make sure that your body is in good working order. Make sure all your systems are fluid and running smoothly. Your, human systems. The smith is somewhat a jewel crafter, somewhat a goldsmith, and also an alchemist and enchanter. And the smith outfits each of the initiates with a special gem that will allow the initiate to basically put a seal or a lock on the soul shard of Eros when they encounter them. There are limited gems because each one is imbued with a soul shard of Agape, and these are finite. So each initiate is only given one, and it has one charge, and it can hold a soul shard until that soul shard is contained by coming back here to dump it. Outside temple is still a work in progress, and I'm not sure I'm going to go with exactly this look. Then again, I might, because I really want there to be just a garden here, a huge, beautiful garden dedicated to Agape. I want there to be a statue of Agape in the center of the garden, and the protagonist for the demo got a love interest that is somebody who attends to the garden, or rather tends to the garden, and the love interest is going to be in communication with them at some points. I'll let them know, I know the nature of your work and what you have to do. I support it. Go ahead and do it because it's for Agape and for the world. That's got the potential to turn slightly south. I might close this off after realizing the garden should be very close to the Temple of Agape. So this was originally going to lead to the gardens, but I think I'm going to have it where, I might still have it lead to the gardens. I got to think about it. I just got to think about it. The slime cave is done in concept, like done on paper, but really I need to work through the logic and the order in which you're going to be going through here. There are some decisions that I need to make, such as when you enter enter the cave, this should really be more of a room that's like here instead of off to the side. So I'll need to do some resculpting. But your taskmaster who comes with you to show you the way, he should be standing in front of and be able to completely block off this room as he tells you to go carry out the objectives in the other two rooms. This room being the interrogation tutorial, in which you'll interrogate the slime ladies, asking where their queen is, and then this room being a gathering room, or a room that contains a gathering node. Then through this bottleneck, there's a room where combat can take place, so you learn how to fight some slime ladies who are getting rowdy, and then the last room is where you can put your gathered resource to use, and there's something else you can gather here, and then you can craft a torch. You'll need that torch to get through this room, so I really need this to be like blocked off so that there's no way for your character to get through without having satisfied that crafting requirement. And then once you do that, there we go, that NPC will move aside, join your party, and let you go through here. And then you'll need the torch to navigate through the depths. I'll have something planned out for this to make sense. Then this room needs to be a little bit bigger. It's where the taskmaster and you part ways. He'll push you along into this room where you will meet with the slime queen. So that is the extent of that map. A lot of the demo gameplay is going to happen here and teach you the mechanics of the game. And then the plateau is actually, I need to arrange this a little bit more to where it's not just get from point A to point B, but rather go from point A to B after undergoing all of the things that you learned in the trial. So I might trial the slime cave being the trial. So I might make this much more elevated, give you the ability to come around, search this area, find some rope or something, cross a bridge, fight some more slimes, maybe a larger slime, walk up some perilous stairs, and then maybe move a couple of blocks out of the way to get to your goal. And then that will be gameplay-wise pretty much the end of the demo, but there's going to be a little bit more lore and story that happened in the demo that I may play with and test and see if it's possible to get that stuff carried over to the full game. So I'm not sure exactly right now what I would be able to change, because Bakin seems to organize its variables much differently than SGB. I'm not sure what I would be able to change in order to keep it making sense to different versions. So I may need to test that and play with it a bit. But basically in SGB, you could carry your save over to a new version of the game as long as the new version of the game didn't affect any of the variables, or the placement rather of those variables. And Bakin does seem to categorize things differently, so I'm not sure how it will work. But a little bit more of my progress is I've got apparently 4 events here. What is this event? You can take and create a map. It doesn't have to be this big at all. It'd be much smaller, but I anticipate having a lot of different tests, and I want to section them off and keep them all on the map so I can play through the entirety of the game using the events contained on one map. That will make test playing very easy, but then when it's time to actually put these events out into the real game, I'll just copy and paste them out there into the real game, and I'll have some folks test play the actual real game. But as long as the events are placed exactly where I need them to be, notwithstanding issues like camera and cutscenes that need to happen out in the real world, then this should work out just fine for testing out mechanics. So the first event I have is the ability to view or not view the intro. And I made this in such a rush because it's not even placeholder, like it doesn't even matter, but it's made so quickly, thrown together, that I didn't have time to take this layout and place it in the middle. If you don't view the intro, then it's fine. If you do view the intro, then I've got just placeholder stuff here. Doesn't look like my text shows up. So yeah, there's supposed to be that text in the top left corner of the screen is supposed to appear on the screen while it's black, and then I need to silence that music that's playing. Test placeholder, that's all it is. This is the name change. Right now my name is nothing, and I can change that to be something. So if I do that, I'm getting problems with getting that to work. I need to display the correct variable on the screen. You could change your pronouns here. Actually, you can choose from a standard set or make your own. I'm going to allow absolutely anybody to be able to save Previa in this game. It's very important to me that I implement a character creation system that is as representative as possible. I realize that means there's going to be folks who ask, well, why isn't there like prosthesis and stuff? Those are things that I can actually work on and add to the game. I just need to have the wherewithal to add them. For now, I can allow for appearance changes and pronoun changes without too much effort. The pronouns are actually very, very easy to do. So he, him, she, her, they, there. You could do a custom pronoun if you wish. You could choose from one of those, and I'm going to have a confirmation screen where they kind of dress you in a way that makes it make sense so that you can be sure that you've chosen the correct pronoun, or that the game understands that you've chosen the correct one. If you want to make your own, you can actually enter all of the different ones. The subjective pronoun like they, and I've got an example of that here. And if you hit OK, you'll be asked to enter the objective pronouns, such as him, her, or them. I want the examples to stick on the screen, so I'm going to have to change that up a bit. And then you'll be able to enter the possessive adjective, so that when somebody says his, her, or their, and they're referring to you, they'll use whatever you put here. Go. All kinds of control over that. There are a few more pronoun options I could get in there, but I think I'm going to try to keep it to where the characters only talk using those 3 types of pronouns: the subjective, the objective, and the possessive, so that the other types, such as can't think of what they are right now, flexive and all that, all of those, I'll try to just omit those from the dialogue. But if I start writing dialogue and it becomes clear that I'll need those, then I'll add those to the selection, and I'll refer to them using variables throughout the dialogue. So that's all I've got right now for this game. I do promise a robust character creation system, at least in the full game. For the demo, I'm just going to have a lot of proof of concept up. So you might be able to change your hair color, for example, or your skin color, or both of those things. And then I'm going to work off of that stuff using subgraphics as much as I can. Subgraphics! Lovely, beautiful subgraphics, and get it to where you can really create a character that you're happy with. By the way, the demo beginning character, the story is actually going to be told in 2 parts. In the very, very beginning of the demo, and hence the game, you're not going to be able to create that character. That's a storied character that you're going through the tutorials and stuff with. Your character that you create actually comes along a little bit later, and then you play as them for the entire rest of the experience. So that is all for now. I am going to get back to work on Project D and continue updating with the concepts, the mechanics, and my progress in these areas, and would love to hear any thoughts you may have at this point. I'm going to get to work next on the Shadowrun-esque system of being able to talk to people and picking up their terms, so that you can then turn around and go use those terms on other NPCs. That's going to be a bit more involved, but I'll show you what I come up with when I'm done. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.